Weis. The Jayhawks blew an 11-point second-half lead and lost by 1 on a field goal as time expired. Coach Weis admitted he wasn't happy with the result, but after Saturday night, all focus shifted to this week's opponent, TCU.
I let them be in the tank Saturday night because I was in it too. You know, I just can't, I can't act that way. But, but by Sunday morning after watching the tape and meeting with the staff and getting together with the players, then going out there and practicing, the best medicine in sports is to go out there and play again. That's the best medicine. So, I mean, and once we get out there Sunday afternoon, and get through stretching and start hitting each other again, you've already moved on. So, I let them sulk for Saturday night, and then Sunday we were back to work. And it's good doing it that way now because by the time, they leave on Sunday, it's kind of behind them. And that doesn't mean it's okay. That doesn't mean it's acceptable, but it's behind them, and then you could be moving forward.
Three aspects of the game need to be improved from Saturday night's loss: offense, defense, and special teams. On the offensive side of the ball, however, the dual-threat running attack of Tony Pearson and Taylor Cox, which both rushed for over 100 yards in Week 1, were once again successful in Week 2.
There was not very much negativity from Taylor Cox. There was not much negativity from Tony Pearson. If you look at those two players, there wasn't too much negative you could say about either one of them. I mean, they only can do their job. That's what they do. I mean, their job is to be given the ball, and they run as hard as they can, and when they're in the pass game, either catch it or pick up the blitz. That's what they're supposed to do. But I'm very happy with Taylor Cox, and I'm very happy with Tony Pearson. I can put those guys over in this group over here. Those are two guys I'm not worrying a whole bunch about.
Pearson rushed for 120 yards on 19 carries, and Cox added 79 yards and a touchdown on his 15 rushes. Well, the passing game has been an entirely different story, however. Despite quarterback Dane Chris going 16 for 28 for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns, Coach Weis is far from thrilled about his quarterback's performance.
I'd say I wouldn't say I'm very happy with the passing game right now. To say that might be an understatement on my part, but I do believe that the passing game has a lot of room for improvement, and I think that it better come on in a hurry, because the better your opponents are each week, you're going to need to score more than 24 points. And I think that when you run the ball effectively, you can get into the 20s when you run the ball like we are. Okay, but you need more production out of the passing game.
Switching over to the defensive side of the ball now, the Kansas D has forced 8 turnovers in the first 2 games. And Coach Weis agrees that as important as it is to win the turnover battle, it's ultimately important on how the team responds immediately following the turnover.
Well, it depends on where on the field you get that turnover. Okay, it's usually, everyone calls it sudden change. That's what a turnover is called, sudden change. It's a change of possession that no one's really expecting at that time. Okay, if you get the ball in plus territory, your mentality is totally different than if you get the ball in minus territory. Meaning, if you're backed up towards your own goal line, okay, you just come out and play offense. If you get the ball in plus territory, the tendency a lot of times to be more aggressive.
What about on defense?
Well, I mean, it's sort of the same mentality. Okay, if your offense, if the turnover was back in the other team's territory, you're just ready to play defense. If it's in plus territory, you're trying to keep them from scoring points.
In addition to the turnover game, Kansas may need to match up size-wise in the linebacker position with some of the big TCU men. Coach explains here.
We're going to play a team this week that, that might just line up and try to pound us some. So, I mean, you can't play with a bunch of 5'8", 190-pound linebackers. You better be ready to, have some girth in case they just decide to just line up and drill. I don't know whether or not they're going to be in 10 every snap, or they're going to come out and be in 22.
And when we get back, we'll get our first look at one of the newest members of the Big 12 Conference, TCU. We'll be right back.
I'll fall from your grace, but I will let go of your hand. Americans is struggling with hunger. Who's the 1 in 8 in your life? You can help today. Visit feedingamerica.org/1in8 to find your local food bank.
Yo, check out this chef, right? Right? That's so gay. That's really gay. Dude, look at those hands.
Please don't say that.
What?
Don't say that something is gay when you mean that something is dumb or stupid. It's insulting. It's like if I thought this pepper shaker was stupid and I said, man, this pepper shaker is so 16-year-old boy with a cheesy mustache. Just saying. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
Living in this crazy world, so caught up in the confusion, nothing is making sense for me and you. Maybe we can find a way. There's got to be solution. How to make a brighter day. What do we do? We've got to give a little love, have a little hope, make this world a little better. Try a little more, harder than before.
Explore new worlds. Read. Visit literacy.gov.
Welcome back. At the press conference, the words trap game were thrown around a few times about this being a game that TCU could overlook since the Jayhawks lost to Rice this past weekend. Coach Weis says that even though coaches can say all they want about how good a team can be, there will always be that confidence when a team is heavily favored, as TCU is this weekend.
Okay, but let's be practical, okay? Let's just sit there and we'll reflect here for a second. So we just lost at home to Rice, right? I got that right? We lost at home to Rice. Blew the game in the fourth quarter up by 2 scores. So the coaches are going to come in and tell all their guys, hey, this team's much better than that. And the players are going to watch the tape. Okay, I've been there now. I've been that coach trying to tell those players the exact same thing. So no matter how many times those coaches sit there and tell them how good Kansas is, the bottom line is, we got by South Dakota State and we just lost to Rice. So you tell me how much motivation in reality, okay? So they'll go read these comments here and say this is what Weis is saying, okay, and try to use that too. But the bottom line is, you still have the tape to look at. And based off of the body of evidence, I just watched them play 49 snaps of defense, play the same front and coverage 46 times, okay, and give up about 2 yards in the game. I saw the quarterbacks throw the ball 17 times and complete 17 passes. That's what I'm looking at. Okay, so it really isn't very difficult for our guys to realize what they have to go to. So that's part of the psyche of the game that you're talking about.
Saturday's game against TCU will mark the Big 12 opener for the Horned Frogs. They come into the game with a 1-0 record after dominating 56-0 over Grambling State last weekend. Led by head coach and Kansas native Gary Patterson, TCU is the 15th ranked team in the nation, and they hold the nation's current longest winning streak at 9 games, which dates back to last season. The TCU quarterback Casey Patchell was perfect last week, completing all 9 of his passes for 201 yards and 3 touchdowns. Last year, he was picked up right where Andy Dalton left off and led the Horned Frogs to an 11-2 record and an undefeated record in conference play. Coach Weis has nothing but praise for the quarterback this week.
Now, last year, they were 9th in the country in scoring offense. They averaged 40 points a game, and I think they're better this year than they were last year. The quarterback is where it starts. Paul Hall, he's 6'5", probably 2 1/4, 230. He's strong arm, he's accurate. Last year's numbers, I believe, were 25-7. Okay, 25 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. In his opening game against Grambling, he was perfect. He's 9 for 9. They didn't have to throw it too much. They were 17 for 17 in the game. I guess that's not a bad percentage. But he was 9 for 9 with 3 touchdown passes and threw for a couple hundred yards. I think just a good game for him to get tuned up.
And coming up after the break, we'll hear from Dane Christ about how he's planning on putting last week behind him and moving forward. We'll be right back.
Coming home can be hard if you're a veteran of Iraq or Afghanistan. You may feel like you're all alone. But you're not alone. At iava.org, your fellow vets are all around you. Join our free online community, get the resources you need, and connect to other vets who know where you're coming from. iava.org. We've got your back.
This is so cool, Dad. Awesome. This is so cool, Dad.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of siblings in foster care who'll take you just as you are.
Mom, I'm not gonna go to college.
What are you saying? You've got to go to college.
Well, they offered me a job and...
Son, college is much more important.
No.
Yes.
No, Mom.
Yes.
Anyways, it's my decision.
Okay, well then decide what degree you're going to get because you will go to college.
Their tomorrow depends on your words today. The Hispanic Scholarship Fund has the information you need to help your kids go to college.
Welcome back. Despite Dane Chris' struggles in the first 2 games of the season, he'll be the first to tell you that he's learned from his negatives and he's preparing for the next challenge this Saturday against TCU.
I think just with how tight I looked playing, I mean, that's not me at all. Missing throws that I don't miss, and that was just a combination of a lot of things. And, I'm not here to make excuses and say, it's just magically going to just be 100%, better. But, I've identified the issues that, I think I needed to identify. And, it all just starts with having more fun and just going out and playing.
While hopes are still high for the passing game to improve, having 2 dynamic running backs can certainly help take some of the load off Chris' shoulders.
I wouldn't say surprised me because I think that those were guys that we went into the year knowing that we were going to have to count on. And I think that it's been great that they've had the success they have had on the ground, and we expect them to continue that. And that's something that they take pride in. And 2 great guys on and off the field, and guys that you like to root for and like to see have success. And but like I said, at the same time, we now count on them and we expect them to keep that up week in and week out.
In the first half of Saturday's loss to Rice, the Jayhawks lost Cale Pick to a knee injury. While it's obvious Chris and the offense would benefit from Pick's play, injuries are part of the game, and the team must do a better job of adapting if something is to occur.
Well, anytime you lose a guy, like Cale, injuries don't discriminate. It couldn't have happened to, a better guy. And, when a guy goes down in the game, you're not sitting there like, oh, all hope is lost. But at the same time, it's a guy you'd like to have. But as a team, you're mentally tough and you move on. And, you try and find new ways to get other guys in the game. And guys have to understand that, opportunity comes quickly. And it's making the most of that opportunity. And, as much as we love Cale on offense, we love having him out there. When you lose a guy in a game, like I said, other guys have got to step up. And, on offense, that's kind of the mentality you've always got to have.
Kickoff is scheduled for 11 a.m. Saturday at Memorial Stadium. We'll see you back here again the same time next week. Rock Chalk Jayhawk.